So you want to make a laptop stand. You want to be cool, like me. Well, let me show you how to do it. Let's go. Today we're going to be making this cool scrap wood laptop stand. So stay tuned for how on Word One's How To's. So I had some paint, and I had some scrap wood from a closet project, and I had one of the little foam thingamabob doohickeys. And I was like, maybe I should make something. I started off by drawing up a template, and then I traced that template onto a piece of wood twice. This particular project, my laptop is 13 inches in width and 10 inches in length. So I pretty much decided I was going to make the stand based off of those measurements. I cut the pieces that I traced with my miter saw, but don't get discouraged. If you don't have a miter saw, you can use a jigsaw and even a hand saw if you have the patience for it and the precision. Look at that. Look at that. I make pretty stuff. Once I cut my pieces, I put the two pieces together and then I sanded them. That way they can be perfectly aligned, as best as possible at least. Afterwards, I measured my bottom piece and then I cut it on the miter saw. That way it was ready to go. Now that I have my bottom piece and my two side pieces cut, I went on ahead and started to apply glue to the bottoms of the side pieces. That way I can glue them to the bottom board. A good habit to get into is squaring your project as you put it together. So that's a benefit to the glue. The glue doesn't dry up right away, even though it dries up fairly quickly, but it gives you enough time to go ahead and square off your piece. That way everything is perfectly as it should be. Next, I whipped out the good old spray paint. I started off with a couple light coats, and then I went with a couple medium coats. It's all it needs to give a nice, even appearance. Like what you're seeing? Be sure to hit that subscribe button and tap the bell for notifications. That way you know exactly when I post up new content. Also, I'd really appreciate it if you give the video a like because it helps with the YouTube algorithm. That way my content gets more views and I can do more projects like this for you guys. Well, I gotta give the paint time to dry, so now would be a good time to take a break, I guess. What do I do though? Now that the glue's dried, I nail all the pieces together. Now it's time to measure and cut my top pieces on the miter saw. For the lip, I cut it to where it sits about an inch up. Now don't forget that you have to cut the top piece to where it sits on top but still has enough space for that lip to go in front of it. So I glued up everything and gave it a few coats of paint. Now that the glue's dried, I nail all the pieces together. I used a scrap piece as a reference for the back. That way I can sit the top piece on there as perfect as humanly possible before nailing it in place. Let me know what you'd like to see me work on in the comments below. I'd love to hear your feedback, and trust me when I tell you, I'm going to see it and I'm going to be ready to tackle that project for you. Now I'm going to measure my back piece and cut it on the miter saw. A quick paint job like we did before, and we're ready to go. All that's left to do now is nail the back piece in place, and we're good to go. Now you have a finished project. If you have the additional tools, you can drill a hole through the back. That way you can run cables so you can charge up your cell phone, your mouse, and any other electronics. Now, with any great accomplishment, you gotta celebrate with a victory dance. I mean, come on.
Work it, shorty. 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 Work it, shorty.
That's nice. I really appreciate you taking the time to watch this video. I'll see you guys on the next one.